I was actually thrown into farming, and I remember my mom sitting, because I couldn't find a job for 6 months, my mom sitting down and saying, one day you'll be a very big commercial farmer. And I looked at her and I said, who wants to stand in the sun?
This has been a very informative symposium, being that we have different people from different sectors in different countries, and just explaining the different opportunities that are there, especially for market linkage and export, for indigenous growing of fruits and seeds. I think that's what's really spoken. And basically just for networking, we've networked a lot with other farmers, and we've made long life linkages.
My name is Dodona Pudividu. I'm the founder of Native Feeds. At Native Feeds, we produce livestock feeds for cattle, sheep, and goats. We also have a consultancy service that basically helps a farmer move from subsistence to a commercial level.
CADESA is a subsidiary of the SADC Secretariat, SADC, and we were established through a charter by SADC Ministers of Agriculture. And the role of CADESA is simply to coordinate agricultural research and development in the SADC region. This was after a gap was realized. So we are here as CADESA to simply fill in that gap that was seen by your various ministers. Our goal is simply to sustainably reduce food insecurity and poverty in the SADC region. And from what each one of you has said, I could see everyone has a passion to reduce poverty. And with your vision and CADESA's vision, we make a powerful team. And what is our objective? Is simply to increase smallholder productivity through adoption of improved agricultural technologies and improved husbandry and marketing practices. So what is our role in CADESA? To coordinate agriculture, regional research and development programs. We also facilitate collaboration among research and innovation institutions. We promote public-private partnerships. You notice that amongst ourselves, we have got big public-private partnership. There's a guy coming from Padamatenga where they do precision agriculture. Our other role is to improve agricultural technology generation dissemination. So in CADESA, we also do this through various programs. What we do is informed by a CADESA strategic plan.
We have partnered together with yourselves and committed to tackling the pressing issues faced by smallholder farmers with a special focus on women and youth by empowering their organizations and facilitating their participation in global climate change discussions and strategic events. This particular meeting that we are in is a symposium bringing together women and youth entrepreneurs who are coming here to share experiences and knowledge on their enterprises, which are dealing with harnessing local resources and producing certain agricultural commodities which they are marketing in their countries and beyond. So it's an event which will facilitate networking as well for them to share experiences. These are champions which were identified in their own member states, and we are thinking it's an opportunity for them to enrich their experiences and knowledge by sharing, which is taking place under the support of CADESA. So it's covering issues to do with climate smart agricultural practices, the use of our natural crop varieties and the modern crop varieties, means of preserving our crop produce to reduce losses, and also just harnessing some modern techniques, the use of drones and so forth, as some of the emerging technologies which are being used in the industry, particularly by the youth, to see how we can help to advance our agriculture in our region and take advantage of the trade regimes which have been facilitated by the new trade agreements in our region at the regional level and as a continent, as you know, of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, which most of our member states are parties to. Most of our farmers are dominated by small scale or smallholder farmers who often have resource challenges. So one of the issues is, of course, to play the advocacy role to see how our policymakers and other stakeholders can continue to support them. We are appreciative of the efforts, at least as far as policy is concerned, and some programs in some countries which have been implemented to try to advance financial resources and improving the policy environment for enable women and youth to access the means of production such as land and finance for them to be able to become productive.
Most of the time, it's the women
who will be having their backyard gardens, and other young people now getting into that space. It's really important because even statistics do show that women are the ones that actually ensure that the children are fed at home. So I won't be able to ensure that children are fed at home if I'm not producing what they have to eat. Agriculture is a field where you have to be patient, where you have to be resilient, where you have to be intentional also that I am producing this because I want my family to be healthy. Obviously, results will not come tomorrow, but in the long run, you'll start reaping the benefits. Some people think that indigenous resources are of the low. There's a line you say that, they look at it like, okay, it's not of a high standard.
In the old days in Mozambique, we had people who were saying that eating wild fruit, it means that you are poor and you are resorting into wild fruits. But one of the tasks that we have when we are commercializing our product is to teach people, is to develop a literacy movement, teaching them that those fruits are richer than oranges, than apricots, in terms of vitamins, in terms of antioxidants, in terms of, many nutrients, phytonutrients. And people are changing perception and are tending to prefer these fruits. And secondly, we are making sure, number one, that the products that we choose do not result in over exploitation of the available resource. Secondly, because we are extracting a lot of seed to our factory, we have a commitment of retaining at least 30% of the seed. After processing, we return it to the community where we extract the resource. When we buy a large quantity, there was a time we bought 5 tons of monkey orange. So at the end of the process, we took around 30% of the seed. We returned it into the community where we bought, and we told the community to spread into the bush.
I want you to ask yourself this question. Why is it that steak or beef doesn't taste the same in, let's say, in South Africa, Namibia, Botswana, wherever else? It's got to do with what they're eating. The phrase, you are what you eat, does not just apply to people. I've learned that it applies to, we're talking about livestock, obviously I lean towards beef more, but I learned with pigs. People don't like pigs because apparently they're dirty and that pigs eat everything, and pigs can even eat human when they're left hungry for so long. There's a retail called Sen Food here. I don't know if you're familiar with it. Sen Food started rejecting pigs or meat carcasses from certain farmers because they realized that this whole thing of pigs eat anything, that is the reason why the meat wasn't tasting good enough. Because we're neglecting a proper diet, a proper balanced diet for our animals.
My name is Kushata Moesi. I come from Maravela Korai, but company-wise, I'm from Ruakomo Incorporated, and I am a beef cattle producer. I also specialize in artificial insemination on my herd. I'd like to say I'm also an advocate for youth and women to kind of venture more into farming. And then I also do public relations for African Agriculture, Youth Livestock Farmers Day, and Botswana Rabbit Farmers Association. Because we are following some standards, compliance requirements, the EU market, we find ourselves having to use the conventional feed. Reason being that the feed conversion with the breeds that we're using seems to be much quicker. And these feeds seem to have something in them that helps the animals gain the weight that we need to have achieved by a certain time in order to get the money that we're trying to get. We did talk about indigenous plants, and as much as we would like to preserve indigenous plants, our indigenous local breeds, we find ourselves in a bit of a challenge because we need to tackle time issues of animals gaining weight at the right time.
As years went by, I'd like to believe we kind of drowned that whole tradition. We did not really absorb much from forefathers. Myself, I would like to believe I'm a second, third generation farmer, but I didn't really get much information from my father on what really the pastures, how they used to do, where the animals used to graze, the plants that they used to feed on.
My name is Sisam Pongoma. I'm from South Africa. I'm a young dairy farmer working with providing milk into the community and the province. We own a 350 hectare farm. We've got 3 farms rotating with feed and also carrier stock of 271 cows. We decided on just not outsourcing our feed, just making our feed by ourselves. That's why we started buying the third farm. We do use concentrates that actually do add, some indigenous things, So basically it all goes with nutrition. So we are pasture based, so we plant different species of grass, which is ryegrass, chicory, plantain, tall fescue, clover, Erograstis, smarts grass, love grass. So all those species go with the conditions because you have to work with the whole year system, because the aim for us is to make money each season.
In terms of profitability when it comes to cattle, we all know that it works in numbers. Either you have the few high quality animals, but really you need to have the numbers. And I'm at a stage where I'm still at the infant stage. I'm still growing my herd, but I can talk about the herd that I've managed, that it is profitable, especially when you stagger your production, when you stagger your sales, you stagger your slaughter times. That's when you can be able to get money throughout the year.
So this is Abel Hangoma, commonly known as Radio Farmer from the Valley of Kafue, that is in Zambia. We grow food organically using natural ways of making pesticides, making fertilizers, and it has been a lovely journey that has brought hope to Zambia, and also it is expanding to the whole world at large.
In the climatical areas that we are in, what message can you say to farmers or upcoming young farmers? The conventional way has taken over, but it's showing that it's killing our soils, microparticles in the soils. What is your message on that?
So I think we don't just have to farm anyhow, we have to farm somehow, and we should be farming with the realization of the future. So when you look back, when you're farming, you have to look back and see what happened so that you can be able to predict what will happen in the future. And what is happening is clearly indicating that our ways of farming have to change. So I'll give an example. In organic farming, you can grow with less water because the soils have been built, you have enough organic matter. And also in terms of the cost of inputs is very high, but in organic farming, you're able to make your own fertilizer that does not destroy the soil, but it feeds and takes care of nature. But at the same time, it's also taking care of you because it gives you food that is nutritional dense, tasty, and also helps with the prevention of diseases. We are living in an age where diseases are everywhere, and the death rate has gone very high, and it is stressed in the food. So organic farming gives you that niche to be able to solve those problems. Organic farming is very profitable because we control the source of our inputs. Like we make our own fertilizer using plants, we make our own pesticides. With the seeds, we recycle because we're using the original seeds. So you find that there are no forces that can control, external forces that can control what we do, because the industries that produce the inputs that we want are inside, and we internalize the profits. So like in a case where we had a problem with fertilizer coming when there was war in Ukraine, in our case, we're not affected because we are making our own fertilizer. And you see, in farming, the most expensive thing is the cost of inputs. But when you control that, you increase your profit margins. The only challenge is that we have taken a Western approach to organic farming. When we use an African approach to organic farming, it is extremely very profitable.
My name is Lom Gatukhashu. I come from South Africa in a small town called Kokstad. Originally born in Matlatiela, but I was raised in Kokstad. I'm a farmer I'm a crop production farmer. I do cows as well, but I call myself a crop production farmer because that's where my revenue comes from. I do yellow maize, I do cabbages, I do spinach and potatoes. And with the cows, I've got cows, 103 cows, which is Bonsmara. Still very new, still finding my way, but I would say when it comes to my crop production, that's where I thrive.
So in the African context where we have our own seeds from either indigenous plants or even our crops, maize and all that, do you think it's an avenue of potential for the young farmers out there?
You know what? It's something I never thought about until I came here in the Symposium. I see a whole big door. It's very much possible. We just need to commit, not to want to make profits quickly, to store our seed, do a bit of research, get researchers to assist us, on grading our seed and planting in large scale. I was making an example with Susan where I said we could plant 600 hectares, not for consumption, but for seed. And then we know that we've got seed for a good 5 years. Then we get the following year, then we can start planting to sell. And the market is there. People now are very health conscious. Indigenous plants are a way to go. They are, and they're high in price as well. So high in price, minimal inputs. So it's a win-win. Not having your own seed, you rely on somebody else, be it time and pricing. So having your own seed is very paramount.
My name's Armanda Elizabeth Sianga. I am a farmer and an agronomist. So I'm basically into the production of high-value vegetables, aquaculture, poultry, and value addition. People management is one of the hardest aspects of running an agricultural business. So basically we do have tasked work where it's billed per task. Obviously looking at the minimum wage and making sure we're in compliance with that. Then we do have permanent labor where they know what exactly they're supposed to do, so that's fixed. So we do make sure we do weekly inspections, daily inspections, and delegate tasks to workers, for instance, a day before, a week before, basically just having a plan for all our activities.
We are talking about sustainability. If today as a farmer I have discovered how to keep these local goats and how they can be profitable for me, it means then therefore that future generations also need to get into this and understand exactly how I did it. But that can only be done or accomplished through documentation. So you need to ensure that the processes or the ways in which you were getting to your success are documented either through video, writing down, and any other methods that you are able to use that are at your disposal to document your success for future generations. This information can be lost to time if we just simply pass it on by word of mouth. So it is very critical and crucial that we document whatever we are doing, how we are doing our feed formulation to ensure that our goats have nutritious feed. All these things are very important and key when it comes to ensuring that we have our indigenous goats succeed.
I am Diani Sibanda, the president of Botswana Farmers Association. And the importance of the mentorship in agriculture is very critical because agriculture is not easy. When you get into that space, you need someone to handhold you. They've gone through the potholes. So for them to mentor you is to avoid going through the same potholes.
We must supply our own demand here because we cannot rely on South Africa or other countries to supply us. You see what happened in Ukraine now. Ukraine was the biggest supplier of sorghum and other food products to the rest of Africa. Now we must supply to our own people here.
These two reservoirs which you are seeing, each reservoir is 118,000 liters. So we're getting our water from Chobe River. Then the water which we have in here, we have to make sure that they are always, in case we use most of the water, it must be only up to half. Otherwise, our reservoir should be full at all the times. This system alone, we have got more than 400,000 fish. Our capacity that side, it's 600,000 fish per 6 months. So in each of these tanks, which you are seeing, we have got 60 females and 20 males only. So after 14 days, we come, we drain the water to somewhere around here. After we drain the water, then we start scooping out the fry. So we scoop out the fry. When we scoop that fry, we put them in a bucket with water. Then we send it inside there. Tilapia, or the one which you are culturing the fish here, we call it a mouth brooder. So with the mouth brooder, it means that when the female lays the eggs at the bottom there, the male will come, fertilize them, then the female will pick the eggs, put them in the mouth for incubation. So that incubation period takes about between 7 to 10 days. So during that period of incubation, the female will not be eating. As a result, the growth for the females normally is low as compared to the males. So that is why when we take the males that side, when we take fish that side for culturing in the larger pond, we normally prefer males only. So here, this is now where we get our eggs as well as our fry. So when we get our eggs and the fries, we take them inside there for washing, cleaning, as well as sorting, weighing them. Most of these tanks which you are seeing now, it's only the full of fingering. So each tank, it's 5,000 fish.
Never enjoyed a workshop like this one in my lifetime. I've been attending workshops all over the world. This one was more inspiring. The main highlight was encouraging women farmers to try and strive to feed in the nation.
I didn't know that I will fall in love with other farming, like poultry and goat farming.
My big take home is, just keeping our heritage, our indigenous plants, not, shying away from that kind of production.
My takeaway from this is also to not give up. I really have learned a lot. And for me, I think it validated much of what we do.
The networking that we managed to get is so overwhelming. It's so rich.